Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in today's video, we are going to be talking about genius kitchen design ideas. These are those clever little things that I see on social media and in people's houses and just in beautiful designs where I'm like, that is just plain freaking clever. Like these hacks are just so clever at really creating a beautiful functional kitchen. And that's what I want to talk about. I don't take any credit for any of these. I just think like I see them all on social media and thought, let's do a video where we can compile all a list of these amazing things because a functional kitchen, it's important. I think it's the most important room in the house when it comes to making sure that everything is just so. You know what I mean? Because you're accomplishing so many tasks in there, you just got to get it right. So these are things that you might want to incorporate in your own kitchen. Let's get going. Okay, I also have some super exciting news, you guys, which is that I have launched a second channel. After 5 years of being on YouTube talking about interior design, I decided to launch a channel where basically I talk about whatever I want, whenever I want. It's a completely creative new direction, same sassy commentary as you come to expect here, but just talking about stuff other than interior design. My first video is now live. I'm gonna link it down in the description and you can check it out. The first video is an etiquette guide to Costco. Random video, just a real good sassy good time. So go check it out. Okay, but before I tell you all about all things kitchen, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is Foreo, which has been helping me with my anti-aging process. Can't you tell? Foreo is your one-stop shop for all things self-care, focusing on helping you achieve your beauty goals with minimalist, results-focused routines. I recently got the FAQ 202 by Foreo, which is part of a new generation of LED face masks. And this has 8 different wavelengths, including NIR to tackle anti-aging, pore size, redness, and other skin concerns. Now, I'm gonna be real with you guys, okay? I am a skeptic. When it comes to a lot of things, especially beauty tech and stuff, I don't know. I just feel like I always approach it with a good healthy dose of skepticism. But I do feel like I'm hearing so much about the benefits of red light therapy from trusted resources, dermatologists, etc. I feel like since using Foreo consistently, I think my skin just looks a lot less dull, if that makes sense. But Foreo is celebrating its birthday and is offering amazing deals right now. So click on the link in the description and use my code NICK35 to get an extra 35% off all Foreo products, including those already discounted. So thanks Foreo for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to some of those genius kitchen hacks. Okay, first on my list is gonna be a garbage can and garbage bag drawer. I love these, and I will say that the amount of high-end, beautiful, gorgeous, amazing designs that I see, and then after everything is done and you move in, you have no solution for garbage, recycling, or compost. You know what I mean? Like there's just no plan for them. And so instead you just have like the crappy old can sort of sitting in the corner or whatever. You have a compost that's sitting on the countertop collecting, you know, fruit flies. And I just think like, ugh, such a miss. You know what I mean? Like let's design a kitchen to actually be used, and that's important that we take into account those 3 things. And so I love when people put these amazing different solutions in their kitchen. I just think they're absolute genius. The favorite one that I also have is not only do people have like the compartments where they have the drawer so they can pull out and the garbage and the recycling and everything is inside there. So it's like tucked away so you don't have to look at it when it's not in use. But I also love the ones that have the little pull out drawers so people can put all the different bags. I think that's really clever because you know you're gonna need the garbage bags. That's exactly where they need to be, right? So it's like, it makes logical sense for, you know, to accomplish the tasks of changing and whatever, doing the garbages. I think that that's great. So why, you know, you're gonna have to store those garbage bags somewhere. Why not store them in this extra special little cute little drawer, right where you're putting in your garbage and recycling? This reduces smells. This makes it easier to navigate in your kitchen. This means you don't have a big, ugly, smelly eyesore. I love this. Okay, next on my list, and this is just a little small, cute detail, is these hidden sponge holders. I think these are so cool because like, where do you put your sponge? You know what I mean? Like, where are you putting the Scrub Daddy, which you all know I'm a big fan of. Love the Scrub Daddy, love the Scrub Mommy. Like, I love them. I'm a huge advocate. They make it in my Amazon video every year because I'm pretty sure I'm just QVC at this point selling people sponges, but they're honestly that good. In addition though, link is in the description, could you imagine? But anyway, I will say about the sponges is where do you store them when they're not around? And yes, even the Scrub Daddy is adorable, but you don't necessarily just want to stick that big ugly orange sponge right there sitting on your countertop or whatever. I love these little sort of hidden drawers that people put, or these little racks that people put inside their sink. So again, it's like, it's good for drainage, so it's not sitting there pooling on your countertop, and it just makes total sense to just have this cute little sort of rack kind of sitting in the corner there for you to store your sponge when not in use. Makes it super accessible for when you actually need it. Makes it so that it drains off right into the sink, so you're not collecting pools on your countertop, which can mean staining and all the rest of it if you've got a natural stone in there. Just like, definitely makes sense to just have some little compartment somewhere in the sink Like, or even those cute ones. I feel like they used to do that. My parents had this back in the 90s and I feel like we got rid of them, but I think we should bring them back. Is these little drawers that actually kind of, I mean, not always great for drainage, so you gotta be careful with that. But these little drawers that you can stick your little washcloths and stuff in, so when not in use, you can just kind of put them away and your little drawer is there. So I think those are really cute too. So lots of different solutions for what to do with that section that is honestly just, you know, they're kind of gross. What are you gonna do with your sponges? And there's really no other good solutions except having these particular little compartments where people are ready for them. Okay, next little genius hack is gonna have to be the integrated paper towel dispenser. This is another one. Like, I love the paper towel dispensers that are just on the countertop are fine. Like, they're great. They do the job. Mine is of course marble, but like, because it's me. But like, for the most part, they're cool. Like, you can get by with a $3.99 one from IKEA. But I do like the ones that are integrated right into the system. I just think anytime that you can integrate some of these pieces that you know you're gonna need, they're just like so smart. So I just love it because when you need it, you can open it up and you're good to go. But then when you don't need it, you can tuck it away. You can also have little drawer, little inserts there to put your multi-purpose cleaner. So it's right there next to your glass cleaner, right there next to your paper towels. I think those are really genius. It's just a small little detail to think through that when you're creating your space, but it makes a huge difference. Obviously, this is not something you can just sort of whip up in a weekend, but if you're doing a renovation or a new build or something, or you're DIY and you like think you want to be able to tackle this as a fun project, I think this is a really cool one. Okay, next up on my list, this is just a detail that if you're going to be doing a kitchen or whatever, you got to pay attention to these small little details. And that's going to be sort of electric outlets under cabinets. So I hate when I see beautiful natural stone or quartz counter, whatever you've got going on, right? You got quartz, you got porcelain, you got whatever, some sort of natural stone, you know, I don't know, whatever you're into. Quartzite, maybe you got Taj Mahal, which is the new natural stone of the moment, right? Go for it. You know, you got all that stuff, but then you got that backsplash and you've spent all that money on that beautiful backsplash, which is so seamless and contemporary and like fits right in with the countertops. Oh, it's gorgeous. And then you put big, ugly electrical outlets on there. And I get it. You need the electrical outlets, you know, like it's a necessary evil because it's going to be used for all your kitchen countertop appliances, which you know I have an addiction to. So I get it. You need electrical in that area, but what's the solution? Genius is to put it actually up into the cabinetry. So just like that, you're able to kind of like go under the cabinets and you can see that's where you put all your little electrical outlets there. I think that is so smart and so clever. And when I go do my new build, this is a must for me to make sure that you're hiding those electrical up into the cabinetry so that it's just really easy just to plug. It's just a difference of where you locate the plug. It's not that different necessarily. It's not crazy innovative, but I think it's just a smarter way to hide the outlet than, you know, not necessarily marring that whole beautiful backsplash you spent all that money on. Also, by the way, honorable mention on the same thing is on the kitchen island, rather than putting it on the side of the kitchen island, consider sort of tucking it inside. If you've decided to put some extra seating there for some stools or something like that, and you've got sort of the side where you kind of got to cut in for where you've decided to put your island or your peninsula or whatever, hiding your outlets there is also, I think, really smart and much superior, in my opinion, than necessarily putting it on the outside. You still got all the functionality of being able to access, you know, your electrical items that you're putting on the island there. You're still able to charge your phone. You're still able to use a Vitamix on the island. Like, you're still able to do all that because you've got the electrical there, but you're hiding the outlet so that you're not able to actually see it. A small thing, just a slight relocation of the outlet makes a big difference. Okay, next up is going to be the cutting board over top of the pull-out garbage storage. I love this. So this is what's happening here. People are taking the cutting boards and they're sort of placing them over top of that garbage sort of pulley out thing that I mentioned earlier, which is so smart because then you can sort of use it. You can use it where you need to. And if you're cutting something really small and it's at the right ergonomic height, which, you know, may or may not, like, you have to make sure it's going to work for your kitchen, but you can actually chop and then it can actually like drop right into your compost or your garbage if you like don't care about the planet. But like, you know what I mean? Like, that's really fun, I think. Like, you can basically chop up all your tomatoes, your blah, 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 your cucumbers, and then you can just like take all the little extra peels and stuff and you can just drop them right through the hole. How genius is that? Then it goes right into the compost and you save yourself a step. So not only are you able to find storage for your cutting board, you're able to store it in a place that it actually is needed. So it's like purpose-built storage, which is awesome. And you also got this little 2-in-1 situation with your compost or your garbage. I love that. Okay, next up is going to be a charging drawer. I love to see these. I think these are so smart and so clever. Now, this might depend on the code in your situation, because again, all of this is, by the way, code dependent. Like, don't do anything where you're like not gonna, guess what? If you go to a building inspector and you say, but Nick Lewis told me to in a YouTube video, they're gonna laugh in your face. First, they're gonna say, who the hell is Nick Lewis? And then they're gonna say, no one cares. So obviously all this is like dependent on the code for your area, because some places allow different things. And some places are really particular about where you can and cannot put electrical. So keep that in mind before you you necessarily start screaming at your contractor. I didn't tell you to do that, okay? I'm just giving you ideas, okay? That's what I'm here for. But here's the deal with the charging drawers, which I think is cool, is a drawer that you can use for all your storing your electronics that you need. So you got your phone in there, you've maybe got like some small electrical appliances that you might need. Maybe you've got like chargers, or you've got like small different areas for you to charge like different sort of small kitchen appliances. Like, I don't really know what you got, but you know what I mean? Like little tools that require electrical, maybe like a USB-C situation or something, right? I think what's smart is a drawer for you to store all that stuff, but also with built-in electrical there. So you're able to actually charge the units when not in use and still be able to close the drawer and put them away. So this way, not only are you providing sort of a space to store all this crap when you're not using it, but you also have the electrical right there inside the drawer so that you can use it when, you know, you can use it just as regular old electrical, but you can also plug it in and then close the drawer and come back, you know, the next morning and boom, it's all charged up. I love this. I think this is just a really genius little idea to just have a drawer dedicated to all of your charging needs. Okay, next on my list, and you guys knew this had to make. If you guys saw the theme of where we were headed in this video, you guys had to know this one was coming, and that is going to be the almighty Appliance Garage. I love Appliance Garages. I've only mentioned them about 17 million times on this channel, and it's because I love them so. Again, here's what we're doing. We're finding a place to store the countertop kitchen appliances, which as you all know is an addiction, as I mentioned literally earlier in this video. So I have an addiction to those. So you need to find a place to store them, but you also need to find a place to store them that is like accessible on the regular. And also genius, when you have the Appliance Garage, you're able to stick the electrical in there so that they are plugged in at all times. And sometimes some of them even pull out. So when you need to use them, sometimes you can do the old fashioned way and just literally lift your blender. And sometimes they come on little sliders. Those people have really got it together. They've got their lives together because they just pull out the little drawer and now they like have it all plugged in, wired and ready to go so they don't have to haul their blender around. And then they just use their blender, and when they're done, they wash it, they clean it, and then they just stick it back in. They don't even have to unplug and plug back in again. These things are genius. When not in use, you can just close down the Appliance Garage and wish it good night, and then you don't have to worry about it. It's not gonna clutter up your countertop, which I think is great. But when you do want to use it, it's wired, electrified, and ready to go. And I just think that's great. Okay, next up on my list, this is something that I also feel like people used to do back in the day and then they got rid of them. Maybe there's a good reason people got rid of them. Maybe they suck, I don't know. But that is gonna have to be the toe kick vacuum. These were really, really popular, and I think we should consider bringing them back again because I think that they're actually kind of a genius idea if done correctly. So here's what they are. You know how you always got the toe kick under your cabinetry? So you got that little area where your feet go for, you know, when you're standing at a countertop. So they're not usually flush like directly down to the ground. There's usually a little like cut in at the bottom there for where people's feet go. That's a toe kick, okay? What people have done, or what people do and have done for a long time, because I do think I remember seeing these back in like the 90s and they were still great then. But again, it could just be another thing to break, which is why people honestly didn't like them. But like, honestly, I think in theory, it's genius. And that is that you're able to just sweep everything in your little toe kick thing, and then it just sucks up all your crumbs. Which, like, is there a room in the house more than maybe the bathroom or the bed, or like a living room or a kid's room? Oh God. But like, honestly, there is no place that attracts random small little debris than the kitchen. And I think having a toe kick is like a really smart way to do it. So rather than having to haul out your vacuum every single time, or perhaps your little robot vacuum is doing overtime, instead of having to worry about that or busting out the vacuum every single time you want to clean up every stupid crumb because someone ate toast and now all of a sudden there's crumbs all over the floor and now it's driving you crazy and you're like, I gotta deal with it. So, you know, one solution is you just have a little broom and you just give a little sweep into the vacuum and it just sucks all your crumbs away. Genius. You don't have to haul anything out. It's a vacuum ready at the drop of a hat. And I think that that's genius. Now, there are other solutions that are out there, of course, but I think this is like a really cute one. And I still see them around, and I think it's just one of those really clever ideas. Okay, next up for genius kitchen solutions, also keeping in line with the toe kick, is the toe kick flat storage. I think this is really cute. This is that storage that is really low at, obviously it's the toe kick, that's where your toes are, and you're not that stupid, right? And then you pull it out, and you can use that for extra storage for all your flat things that you don't use all that often. I think it's like an underutilized storage thing. I will say that a lot of times, like people's ovens, if you have a full range, they'll oftentimes have a drawer that you can use for some of these little kitchen items. But I do think that sometimes like extra storage at the bottom of the drawer is actually underutilized. The other things that are really, really cute, except I don't know how practical it necessarily is, but it's worth mentioning, is a lot of people have these little drawers for their pets. So they have a drawer for like their dog food or their cat food or whatever in the water dish for the pets. And I think that is actually quite cute. The reason I question it is because doesn't your dog like don't you just aren't you annoyed at having to pull out your drawer every single time that your dog needs water? Like, I tend to think that dogs just should drink water whenever they feel like it. But theoretically, it's a really fun idea because you can like store their food down there, like in a little special storage compartment, and then you got your little bowl there ready for them. And it's just at perfect height for the dog. So taking a space of the house that is not typically all that functional because it's super, super low to the ground. And you know, our canine and feline friends are already quite close to the ground, to be honest. And so they can use those with ease. So I think that can be a really genius idea. Again, sometimes the execution really needs to be thought through, especially with things like the water dish. But in theory, I think it's quite clever. Okay, and the next up on my list here is going to be pegboard storage. Now, I will say when you first glance at the pegboard storage, it might give you cluttered open shelving vibes, which, as you all know, is not a clever, genius kitchen storage solution, in my opinion, because I'm not always a big fan of it. I think that open shelving should be for styling, it shouldn't be for storage. But this is actually for storage, and I think what makes it genius is a couple of reasons. First of all, I think having like a visual pegboard to be able to sort of maneuver and put around all your things, I think is actually a really clever and an easy way to visualize all of your stuff, especially if you're like a hardcore baker or hardcore cook. I think like pegboards can be really genius ways to be able to see what you're working with, as opposed to a drawer where you're kind of diving into the drawer to see what you've got and rummaging around in that awful junk drawer. Oh my God, you should see my parents. It's absolutely, ugh. Every time I go in there and I was like, you guys can't live like this. These are deplorable conditions. If I don't do something about this drawer, I feel like the authorities are gonna call me and this is elder abuse. Like, we gotta do something about this situation because it's horrible in that drawer. You know what I'm talking about? Like, what is with parents in those drawers? The measuring cups from 1972. But anyway, I digress. But I do think that like, it's really hard to dive into those drawers no matter what age you are, no matter what state you're in. But I do think that pegboards are actually really great because you got that sort of verticality that I think really helps be able to visualize everything that you have in the space. So when done correctly, I think they are really, really genius ways at storing all of your stuff in a really visual way. So it's really easy to grab and use whatever you have. One recommendation, I think if you love an open look and you want to display all of your stuff because you're really leaning into that like chef's kitchen, then go have at it. If you're a person who puts all their pots and pans on the copper pots and pans on the ceiling because you really want that chef's kitchen, I'm not gonna stop you. Then a pegboard like that, even in an open format, might make sense for you. But if you want something a little bit more closed off, you can just close it off. Like there's really, you just kind of have like a tall cupboard that then you can use to be able to shield it when not in use, or you could put glass if you want it to be sort of semi-opaque so you can kind of see it. But I think it's a really genius way to be able to visualize and see everything you have, use it, put it back again easily. I think it can work really well, especially if you're a person who really likes to cook or bake. Also, bonus points for the pegboard storage, rather than even having its own separate cupboard, it also makes sense to put on the back of things, right? So on the back of a cupboard door can be really genius, assuming that you have the right clearance, depends on the drawer, of course, but that's also an opportunity that you can do. Plus, even if it works in other rooms as well, laundry room, for example, or bedroom, whatever, pegboards can be really genius ways at just being able to visualize your stuff and store with ease. So I think this works really well in the kitchen, and I've seen some executions that are totally genius. Okay, so that's it for me, guys. I'm gonna leave you here, but I wanna leave you also with this video that I did that talks about genius solutions that I've seen in other areas of the house. There's some really cool ones in the living room that I want you to take a look at. So go ahead and check those out in this video right here, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks a lot, bye.